There were ancient civilizations that were able to make swords that were advanced for their time. When you see these, you'll wonder just how far humans could go even without modern equipment. Join me. These are the 20 ancient swords and blades that are not only deadly, but also look awesome. But before we start, don't forget to like this video. This means a lot to us content creators. Thank you very much, and now let's get started. Let's start with number 20, the Naui II sword. It came out during the late Bronze Age, before iron became common. It was made around 1200 BCE, or more than 3,000 years ago. Its design was first seen among the Mycenaeans in Greece, a civilization known for war and strong cities. But it didn't end there. It quickly spread throughout the Mediterranean and reached as far as Central Europe. It was still used even as things began. It has a midrib, the raised part, in the middle of the blade that provides strength while keeping the edge thin and sharp. Most of these swords are 60 to 75 centimeter long, just right for cutting and thrusting. This is made by casting bronze, with the tang being the part attached to the handle. It has holes so it can be fitted and attached securely. In the more expensive versions, the handle is decorated. Sometimes it's shiny bronze, or it has details that show the owner's status. At first, many swords would easily break at the part where the blade and handle connect. They lengthened and reinforced the tang and adjusted the shape of the blade to make it stronger. In studying its metal, experts noticed that its creation wasn't just a simple mix. Usually the bronze used had 10 to 12% tin of metal that adds strength. But it also gives a bit of flexibility so it doesn't break easily. This is the result of generations of knowledge in metalworking. As the end of the Bronze Age approached, around 1200 BCE, there were large movements of people. There were warriors moving from place to place, traveling and bringing their technology with them. That included the design of this sword. Eventually, blacksmiths in Italy copied it. Next were the cultures in Central Europe, like the Ornfield culture and Hallstatt culture, groups that were among the first to use iron in Europe. This was not just an ordinary sword. As iron became more available around 1000 to 900 BCE, the same design was still copied. But now, the new metal was being used. Even though the material changed, they didn't change the shape. That's how effective the design was. In pottery, figurines, and stone carvings from the late Bronze Age, you can see the same leaf-shaped blade. This matches the actual swords that have been excavated. This means it's not just for decoration. It was really used in battle. Number 19, the Latin sword of the Celts. It was named after the place called Latin, a site in Switzerland where this type of sword was first discovered. The Celts, an ancient group in Europe known for their art and warfare, made this. This sword was used from the 5th to the 1st century BCE, so it was used in warfare for several hundred years. The blade is long and narrow and made of iron. Usually it comes with a scabbard, a sheath for the sword, which is detailed and decorated. Its length is usually 70 to 85 centimeters, but some are even longer. The blade is straight and has 2 sharp edges. They used a technique called pattern welding, combining layers of steel to make it stronger. It's like stacking layers of metal and forging them until they become a solid blade. The Celts have been doing this centuries before it became common in Europe. But the most remarkable thing here is the scabbard. You can see spirals, curves, and patterns that look like leaves in different shapes. But because they were made from perishable materials, most of them haven't survived today. What remains are just the metal parts like the pommel and guard plates. In some swords found in Britain and France, you can see that the handle is still well shaped. Many swords have also been found in rivers like the Thames and Marne. Because of this, experts believe that they may have been offered as part of a ritual. Others come from the graves of warriors, along with shields and spears. This shows that the sword was important not only in battle, but also in their culture and beliefs. Some ancient Greeks and Romans said that Celtic swords were easy to bend. But according to modern studies, this is not because the quality was poor. The blade was intentionally made with a flexible center and hard edges. This means it can absorb impact without breaking easily. A sword that's durable in battle. Number 18, the khopesh of ancient Egypt. It appeared around 1800 BCE and was used until the time of the New Kingdom, when Egypt was at its strongest. What's unique about it is that it's like a combination of an axe and a sword. Its shape is like a sickle, so it's easy to recognize. It measures about 50 to 60 centimeters long. The outer curve is sharp for slicing. The inner part is like a hook that can be used to pull an enemy's shield, hand, or weapon. In the first version, bronze was used, shaped, and then sharpened. But eventually they also started using iron. They gradually kept up with the new technology. The making of the khopesh was not always the same. For combat, the back was made thicker for durability, and the edge was made thinner for sharpness. It also has a tang, the part attached to the handle, which is fitted with wood and secured using metal pins to make it stronger. Some khopesh swords have detailed designs, sometimes with carvings or decorations. So it's not just a weapon, but also a symbol of power. Because of trade and war, its design spread to other cultures. But no matter how popular it was, it gradually disappeared. When the Iron Age came, the style of combat changed. Long straight swords and better armor became more popular. Because of this, the curved shape of the khopesh was no longer practical, or 17. The Gladius Hispaniensis of the Romans. This is the very first version of the famous Roman sword and one of the most important in history. It came out in the 3rd century BCE and was based on the swords of the tribes in the Iberian Peninsula. This is where it was first seen and later copied by the Romans. Its length is about 60 to 70 centimeters. The blade is straight and has 2 sharp edges. It was made for thrusting, not just for cutting. In the study of the metal, it can be seen that the edge is hard and the inside is more flexible. It was treated with heat to make it stronger. The handle is made of wood or bone, and the handle is attached to the tang with metal pins. It is often used together with the scudum, a large Roman shield. Because of this, the soldier can attack while defending. This became their big advantage against enemies who relied more on slashing than stabbing. There was a standard in making them, uniform, not just random. This remained the main sword of Rome until the 1st century BCE, before it changed to other styles like Mainz and Pompeii. But even though the appearance changed, the principle remained: short blade, sturdy, and for stabbing. This became the core of Roman combat. Number 16. The Chinese bronze Jian, a sword from the Warring States period in China. This was a time of intense battles before China was unified. Many swords have been unearthed from tombs, and surprisingly, they are still in good condition even after thousands of years. The blade is straight and has 2 sharp edges. The length is about 40 to 55 centimeters, just right for one hand. It is made using a mold, then hammered and sharpened to make it stronger. In the study of the metal, it was noticed that it has a high tin content, which makes the blade extremely hard. There are also some that were made in a way where the edge is harder and the middle is more flexible. That's why it's durable and not easily broken. Even now, it still looks almost brand new. It doesn't rust and it's still sharp. This shows how careful and advanced the craftsmanship is. Because of the sharp tip and sharp edge, it's suitable for stabbing and slicing. A balanced weapon that's simple in appearance, but effective in battle. When it comes to the Chinese Jian, it's not just a weapon for fighting. Its handle has a guard, grip, and pommel, usually made of bronze, wood, or bone. But more than just a weapon, it also became a symbol of status. Nobles were often buried with their swords, and not just any sword. There were also decorations like turquoise, jade, and scabbards with a shiny coating. Later, during the Qin and Han dynasties, they started using iron and steel, which were stronger than bronze. Because of this, the Jian gradually disappeared from the battlefield. But it was not completely forgotten. Number 15. The xiphos of ancient Greece, a sword that is easily recognized by its leaf-like shape. It was used from the 8th to the 4th century BCE. It served as a secondary weapon when the primary weapon could no longer be used. The Greek warriors known as hoplites carried the xiphos as a backup. When their spear broke or the enemy was too close, That's when they used it. Its length is about 40 to 60 centimeters. The middle of the blade is wider and it narrows towards the tip. Because of this, it delivers a powerful cut and is still sharp enough for stabbing. The handle is made of wood or bone, sturdy materials. It is attached to the tang, which is the part of the blade inside the handle. Because these materials decompose easily, usually only the blade and the metal parts remain in excavations. It is ready to use whenever the fighting gets up close. In the formation called the phalanx, the soldiers are close together and move in unison. The spear is the primary weapon. But when chaos breaks out and it becomes close combat, that's when it becomes important. The balance, cutting strength, and control are carefully considered. By the 4th century BCE, other swords like the kopis and machaira became popular. They were longer and curved, suitable for cavalry. But even so, the xiphos continued to be used for a long time. Until now, it remains one of the most iconic swords of ancient Greece. Number 14, the falcata, a sword from the Iberian Peninsula. It appeared around the 5th century BCE and quickly became known for its unique shape. It measures 45 to 60 centimeters in length. The curve of the blade delivers more force with each strike. The back is thick and only one edge is sharp. It's durable but not heavy. Blacksmiths use techniques to combine different types of steel to achieve the right hardness and flexibility. Some swords also have grooves on the blade that make them lighter while still remaining strong. In more expensive versions, there are silver designs and engravings on the sword. The handle is curved inward with a hook at the end. Because of this, it doesn't easily slip from the hand even with strong swings. It is also a symbol of power and status. You can see this in carvings and statues in Spain where warriors are holding this kind of sword. According to Livy and Polybius, its cut is said to be very powerful. It can cut through shields and armor. There might be a bit of exaggeration in the story, but there are studies that prove the quality of its craftsmanship is truly high. Even though the Romans copied some techniques, they did not imitate the curved design. They preferred the straight sword, like the Gladius. But even so, the falcata remains one of the most unique and most impressive swords in the ancient world. Number 13, Japan's warabite sword. It got its name from its handle that resembles the curled leaf of the warabi plant. These are usually found in ancient graves in Honshu and Kyushu. They are important not only in battle but also in culture and relationships. It's like a bridge from the old bronze weapons to the more advanced swords of Japan. This is where the ideas that would be used in making future swords like the katana began to form. Its length is about 40 to 55 centimeters. The base is wider and it narrows towards the tip. At first, the process was simple, basic forging using steel. But eventually, the technique became more advanced. They used folding the steel and only hardened certain parts. This became the foundation of Japanese sword making. The most unique thing here is the handle. It's not separate. It's actually part of the steel itself. And the tip is curled or twisted, which is different compared to other swords. There are also blades that have grooves or channels on the back. This helps make the sword lighter without reducing its strength. Some also have decorations like silver, bronze fittings, and engravings. This shows that even back then, people didn't just think about function, but also appearance. Over time, Japan developed its own style. They gradually explored the curve of the blade, which became important in the following centuries. By the 6th century, the warabite too also disappeared. It was replaced by swords like the shokuto and tachi, which were longer and more curved. But even though it disappeared, it played an important role in history. Number 12, the ekinakis of Persia. A short sword or large dagger carried by nobles, officials, and royal guards of the Achaemenid Empire. Its length is about 35 to 50 centimeters. It has a midrib, the raised part in the middle, to make the blade stronger. In the earlier versions, simple iron was used, but eventually it became more advanced, with layers of metal and a hardened edge. The tip was also reinforced, making it effective for stabbing, especially at close range. The handle has a unique design. Often there are 3 bumps at the end, and a short guard that's slightly curved toward the blade. It's made using iron, bronze, or sometimes wood and bone. In the more expensive versions, there are decorations of gold, silver, or inlays. It's also unique in how it's worn, because it's different from the usual style of other cultures. This shows that it's not just a weapon, but also a symbol of rank and power. It's not a primary weapon in war. The Persians are known for their archery and might. That's why this is just a backup weapon when the fight gets up close. Its scabbard is often decorated with engravings, patterns, and sometimes images of animals. There are also rings so it can be hung on a belt. It is believed that its design originated from the Caucasus and Central Asia before being used by the Persians. After the empire fell, it gradually disappeared as well. It was replaced by longer swords from the Hellenistic world. But even today, it remains one of the most famous and most elegant weapons of the ancient Middle East. Number 11, the Ulfbert sword of the Vikings. More than 170 examples of this have been found in Scandinavia, Germany, Finland, and Russia. It measures 85 to 90 millimeters in length. It has 2 sharp edges and grooves on the blade to make it lighter without losing its durability. When it comes to the Ulfbert sword, this is where things really get interesting. It's not just about the appearance, but also the quality of the steel. According to experts, many of these are made from crucible steel, a type of steel produced under controlled heat. The metal is pure, the mixture is even, and it's very durable. Back then, most of Europe only used simple steel. But in these swords, the carbon content is high, almost like more modern steel. Because there are few impurities, it's stronger and doesn't break or bend easily. While other Viking swords still needed to be strengthened by folding, the Ulfbert was already strong because of its quality. The name Ulfbert, engraved on the blade, is believed to be the name of a master swordsmith or a famous workshop. But because it became popular, there were also imitators. There are swords with the same name but lower quality. So not every sword marked Ulfbert is original. Its handle has a typical Viking design. It has a crossguard, and the pommel can be round or have 3 parts. The grip is made of wood wrapped in leather or cloth. There are also scabbards made of wood, lined with wool, and wrapped in leather to protect the blade. These are usually found in the graves of wealthy warriors along with their shields and spears. Others come from rivers, possibly as part of a ritual or offering. The truth is simple. This is one of the highest quality swords of that time because of its excellent materials and craftsmanship. The Dao of the Han Dynasty of China, a sword with only 1 sharp edge that eventually became the main weapon of China. At first, double-edged swords like the Jian were more common, but as steelmaking advanced, warriors switched to the Dao. Its length is usually 60 to 97 pieces. It has a sharp edge and a thick back. Many Dao were made by combining different layers of steel to make them stronger. The handle is usually made of wood. Sometimes it is wrapped with leather or rope for a better grip. It also has a guard and pommel made of bronze or steel. Because it is durable, it is suitable for long campaigns. Over time, its appearance also changed. From a straight blade, it gradually became curved. Along with this, the tactics of warfare in China also changed. Cavalry became more important, so the Dao was suitable for fast attacks while riding. It was more efficient for large armies. Before the Han Dynasty ended, this had already become the primary sword of China. Number 9, the kopis of ancient Greece. It was used from the 6th to the 3rd century BCE by the Greeks and other warriors in the Mediterranean. It measures 48 to 65 centimeters in length. What's unique about it is its shape. The front of the blade is heavier, so every strike is more powerful. It has a curved blade which allows for deep and controlled cuts. It's made of iron and sometimes mixed with early steel. In some versions, the edge is hard and the back is more flexible. It's not just the blade that's unique, but also the handle. The guard curves downward, and there's a hook at the end to prevent it from slipping out of the hand. This is important, especially in close combat. The grip is made of bone or ivory, and it's attached using metal pins. Some also have decorations like bronze fittings and carvings. It's like a mix between the kopis and the local sword. Eventually, its use declined. It was replaced by straighter swords, like the Roman Gladius. But even though it disappeared, the idea of the curved blade continued. You can see this in later swords like the falcata and the Persian shamshir.
Number 8, ang spada ng mga
This is the sword that replaced the gladius as the main weapon of Rome. It was used from the 2nd to the 5th century CE when the Roman Empire was expanding. At first, it was based on the longer swords of the Celts and Germanic peoples. It was longer than the gladius, usually 70 to 90 centimeters. The blade is straight and has 2 sharp edges. In later versions, layers of steel were combined to make it stronger. The edge is hardened, while the inside remains flexible, so it's sharp and not easily broken. The handle is simple but effective. It has a short guard, a round or flat pommel, and a wooden grip attached to the tang. The scabbard is made of wood with leather and metal. At first it was used by the cavalry because it had a longer reach, but later on even the infantry started using it as well. There were also swords found in places that were possibly part of rituals or offerings, as well as in the graves of wealthy warriors. Number 7, the Tawar of India. It became popular during the time of the Mughals and Rajputs, but there was an earlier version that appeared from the 13th to the 15th century CE. The blade has a single sharp edge and a gentle curve. It's suitable for quick and powerful slashes. It measures 70 to 85 cm in length. It is made from high-quality steel that is durable and sharp. Travelers from Arabia, Persia, and Europe praised it for its quality. The handle has a unique design. It has a round pommel to prevent it from slipping out of the hand and a short guard that curves slightly downward. Some handles are made of brass or steel and have decorations such as gold or silver. 6. The Jian of the Tang Dynasty of China usually measures 70 to 90 centimeters in length. It was made using more advanced steel-making techniques. The metal was folded to even out the carbon and remove impurities. Even if it wasn't folded thousands of times, folding it enough was sufficient to achieve the right quality. It has a guard and pommel made of bronze, iron, or steel. Some swords have a round ring at the end. That was a well-known design of the time. Higher status examples were decorated with gold, silver, or jade. It was used by both infantry and cavalry. Over time, the style of warfare changed. Cavalry became more important. Because of this, the Dao became more practical. It's a curved sword with a stronger cutting power. It gradually replaced the Jian on the battlefield. But it didn't disappear. Instead, it became a symbol of wisdom and discipline and was often associated with scholars and martial arts. The Roman Pugio. It measures 18 to 28 centimeters in length. At first, bronze was used, but later they switched to iron and steel to make it stronger. The grip was made of wood or bone and attached to the tang using metal pins. The guard and pommel were usually made of bronze or iron and often had engravings. For those of higher rank, the versions were more detailed. There were pugios with silver decorations and beautiful scabbards. The scabbard had a metal frame and designs like spirals and geometric patterns. There were also rings so it could be hung on a belt. But it wasn't just for fighting. It also had symbolic value. Officials used it as a sign of their authority. According to Plutarch, the weapons used to kill him were pugios, but by the late 2nd century CE, it gradually disappeared from military use. Number 4. The ring pommel sword of China from the Warring States period. This was a time of intense warfare before China was unified. Its design had various uses for balance, decoration, and symbolism. There were single-edged versions and double-edged ones as well. The double-edged one resembled the Jian. The other was like the early version of the Dao. It measured about 60 to 80 centimeters in length. For that time, its craftsmanship was already advanced. Bronze casting and iron forging were combined. In some blades, you can see the layered construction. That's why they are durable and flexible. Many were found in the tombs of the wealthy. There were even decorations like gold, silver, and turquoise. You can also see these in ancient artwork like mirrors and figurines. Number 3. The Macedonian kopis, a curved sword used by the warriors of Alexander the Great. It measures 50 to 70 centimeters in length. Like other kopis swords, the weight of the blade is concentrated at the front. That's why every strike is powerful, especially when used while riding a horse. The back of the blade is thick and the edge is curved. That's why the cuts are deep and controlled. It became known in different places. It is often compared to the falcata, but they have different origins. The kopis is slimmer and more suited for cavalry, while the falcata is heavier and better for infantry. Eventually, it was also replaced by other swords, like the xiphos. But curved blades remained popular with cavalry in different parts of the world. Number 2, the Dao of the Song Dynasty in China. They used a technique where the edge was hard and the back was flexible. They also combined different layers of steel to make it stronger. There are different forms. Some are straight, some are slightly curved, and some have a deep curve for cavalry. The handle is usually octagonal or oval, wrapped in leather or cord. For the wealthy, there are even decorations like dragon designs, symbols of power. Number 1, the tachi of Japan. It appeared during the Heian period from 794 to 1185 CE. This is where sword making in Japan began to become advanced. It measures 70 to 85 centimeters in length. It has a distinct curve, unlike the earlier straight swords. This curve was made for cavalry, making it easier to cut while riding a horse. The most important technique here is differential hardening. The back of the blade is coated with clay before it is heated. That's why the edge is hard and sharp, but the back is flexible. There's also a combination of different types of steel to achieve the right strength and flexibility. The handle is made of wood wrapped with cord or leather. The scabbard is made of lacquered wood, sometimes with added decorations. The tachi was the beginning of the tradition of curved swords in Japan, which later became the katana. It's not just because of its appearance, but also because of the technology and history it carries. And here you can see how skilled and intelligent people are in making weapons.